Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan here. I mean, for today, what can I say? You know what? This is already an incredible, super badass Saturday to be chatting again with the incredible, amazing, the badass, the one and only, the legendary, the super amazing Jaedra. Jaedra, how are you today?
Hi, Dan. It's great to be back. I'm really good. I'm good today. Yeah,
Absolutely. I mean, what better way, right? What better way to start up a badass Saturday? Or have like
exactly.
you know what I mean? A weekend.
A
Relax.
weekend, kicking off the weekend.
There you go.
This is my one day really off for the next in a run of maybe 14 days. So it's nice.
That's
Yeah,
badass. I love
yeah,
it. I love it. I love it. Now, if you're new to the channel, well, as always, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow, helps a lot. Also, in the description below, you're gonna find all of Jared's social media. Let's follow her. And if you still haven't found out why she's super badass, let's discover it now, so you can be like, I get it now. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But anyway, without further more, let's jump in here. So I want to start this whole conversation by throwing out the first question, which is, have there been any new developments or projects that you are excited about or that you have been in the next, I mean, since we last spoke, which was like what, like 2 years ago, something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm Yes, there's a bunch of stuff that's coming out. I think one of the things that we talked about 2 years ago was The Haunting of Hellhole Mine, which is a show that I was in that we was in production right before the pandemic, like February of 2020, and it finally came out, and you can find it now on Amazon. So finally, you can go check out The Haunting of Hellhole Mine, which is cool. And last November through, actually, I think we started in September through December 2023. I was working on a feature film called The Dark Crusader. It's a superhero musical comedy, and I play a character named Rat Woman. So that was a super fun project to be working on. Um, and that was with, so have you heard of the viral sensation Taste the Biscuit?
No, I
No,
didn't.
you have not.
No.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
Vincent Gargiulo created a film maybe like 10, maybe even like 15 years ago. I'm not sure how old this film is. Um, but it's about this like traveling duo musicians, and one of their songs is called Taste the Biscuit. And that particular piece of that film got pretty big. So it has a pretty big following, which is was cool for me to be working with someone who's got something under his belt a little bit. And yeah, so that was with Vincent Gargiulo, and the feature is called The Dark Crusader. Um, and what else have I been working on? Tonight I'm going to a screening of a short film that we recorded probably a year ago called Melusine, and I play Melusine. And it's a retelling of an old European myth of this kind of creature woman who is human for most of the time, but then like every once in a while she turns into this like creepy mermaid thing. Um, and yeah, you can see what happens. Yeah, so that's kind of what's been happening lately. Oh, and I've been doing some commercials for a jewelry company called Gem Joy. And it's actually really fun because Gem Joy is this jewelry company that has augmented reality jewelry. Should I go grab one of the items, or would that like to be bad to leave the screen and come back?
As you wish. I mean, I could do the whole cutting, so it's fine.
Yeah. So,
Sounds like a plan.
um, we got it. Moving over here. Um, it's interesting. Okay, so now I'll sit down before I start talking again. It's an interesting jewelry item because it like each one has a um this little, I'm not even sure what it's called. Gem? Oh yeah, I guess a gem for GemJoy. And when you use the app, you can see the augmented reality of a character. So it could be like a frog or a fairy or a um, whatever. And the woman that started it is working with me to create a little story. So it's not only like an ad, but it's also like it's a little narrative where I'm playing this princess who like falls in love with the frog character, and then it's like it's kind of the Princess and the Frog story,
Hey,
a
that's
retelling
genius.
of that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, so it's kind of
genius.
fun. So keep an eye out for that. They're not out yet, but there is one of the ads that I worked on is out, but it's not part of the narrative. But yeah, it's been fun.
So you basically are
And I'm
doing
also
everything.
writing for that,
There you go.
so that one takes is a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. Very silly as well.
I'm loving it. If you're, I
Yeah.
mean, you are, you're still super badass. You're kicking ass out there. That's awesome.
Mm. Oh, and in terms of kicking ass, I've been working with a friend who's doing live action versions of like anime fights. And
Oh,
so I've been
okay.
learning like a little bit of anime fighting scenes,
That's pretty
which
cool.
is really
Yeah.
fun
Yeah, absolutely.
and a lot of hard work. It's a lot of cardio.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. I bet it is. And also it's great because I mean on your resume you can also add to that as well.
Yeah, right. And I have a background in yoga and dance, and I love a good fight scene. And The Haunting of Hell Hole 9, I have a really fun fight scene with a woman named May Miatno. I'm not sure I'm saying her last name right, but she's a model, but she did this one acting gig. I don't know if she's done more, but yeah, that was really fun. Got to like kind of beat each other up. Um, and then I've taken some fight choreography classes, which is also a really great way to just like have fun and keep in shape, um, and and be prepared for the stunts and the fight scenes that pop up in the world.
Yeah, it's the yeah, totally. Totally. I mean at the end of the day like
Yeah,
those type of scenes require like a lot of coordination and everything. So it's pretty cool. You're also adding to you are also putting work to that. That's
yeah,
badass.
it's definitely something I like putting effort into and learning more. And I wish I just had more time to do more.
Yeah.
So yeah,
There you go. And how did you perceive the acting industry when you first started out?
how did I perceive it?
Yeah, let's go back in time here and tell me
Okay.
when you're starting out, how did you saw the whole how you saw the acting industry was?
So I've been acting for a very long time, but I grew up doing theater, musicals and plays and on stage. Um, so I knew about that world a bit. But I moved out to California, and in 2018 or so, I started doing more TV film. Um, I think I did my first TV project in 2018, no, 2019, with a little meetup group. Might have been 2018. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. It was 18 or 19. And that was a surprise to me as to how movies all came together. I knew that it took a long time, but I didn't really know why it took so long for movies to come up together, production to create a movie. Um, and it's not it's just that like every single element has to come together at exactly the same time, and everyone is so excited about their own element, and that's great. But also it means that it's not just that I have to go through hair and makeup and then get on stage and be ready to go. I have to go through hair and makeup, but at the same time, the lighting has to be set up, and um, everything just has to be all in exactly the perfect place. The scene has to be put together, and the yeah, so it's slower than I think I initially knew. I knew it was slow, but now I guess I know why it's slow.
Mm,
Um, and what was the original question? How has it changed? How did I initially see it when I
hmm
started out? Um, and I think when I started out, I knew how to act more or less. I knew how to memorize lines, and um, I had training that was pretty different than it is now because it was more theater stage based. Um, but I know a lot more now about, like I was saying, I'm writing now for the Gemjoy narratives, and I can set up lighting a little bit. I can set up not like a professional camera, but I have my tripod and I can set up my phone and do a little bit more of everything on my own than I could have when I started out, I think.
I love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And what are some of the most significant changes you've noticed in the acting industry over the past few years?
Yeah. So I was thinking about this one um, because there's things that I've noticed, and I don't know how much of it is like things that are just new to me as time goes by and I'm just learning new things, and things that are fully new to the industry. Of course, the transition from live to a lot of things being virtual. When I started out, it was very close to the pandemic already. That first audition that I booked, The Haunting of Hell Mine, was pre-pandemic, but it was a self-tape, and I did book um, off of a video, off of then we had a Zoom meeting. So even before the pandemic started, I was doing that. And I think that's where things were headed anyway. And then the pandemic just accelerated it. And now the trainings that I've been in, they really like emphasize that.
Mm.
It's something that we train to do now, to do a self tape and to do a Zoom audition, as opposed to just being in the room, which we also train for. And eventually, hopefully, you get into the room. But it starts out, almost everything starts out now with a self tape. So that's different. And of course, technology and AI and all of that chaos. And it's so very scary, but it's definitely something that is happening in this world. And I don't want to say that we need to try and shut it down because that's not possible. And it's not realistic or even, yeah, we have to figure out how to work with and um, make the best of the situation because that's what's here and that's what's happening.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and I think that there's a lot of people trying to push back and say no, 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 which is a totally normal reaction. And it's definitely something that my body is saying, like, yeah, we don't want that. Like, no, 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 no. But also, uh, but yeah, but it's here and it's happening and we're figuring it out. And that's just the way it is. Yeah.
There you go. I mean,
Yeah.
it's scary, right? I remember I was watching a couple of, like, yeah, kind of documentaries that every now and then in the wormhole of YouTube appears regarding, AI. And it's scary how much has advanced into a point now that, I mean, it can yeah, it can copy your voice, but at the same time, it can copy your whole face to it and can make you say things that perhaps like the real you wouldn't say, things like that.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, right now they're using it, of course, as for memes, comedy, things like that, which is great. But sometimes I wonder, like, yeah, but what if at some point they started using it as, as to someone says, for someone to say something, like to harm their image somehow. And not only that, but
Oh,
also
yeah.
the fact that at some point, you get older, you pass away, and then they manage to copy your face when you were on your 20s, 30s, and then you're gonna stick around for the rest of your life without y- being the real you. You know what I mean? So that is a really scary
Right.
fact here.
Well, and that is super, super scary, and we need to create regulation around it for sure. Um, but and also that's already starting to happen, I think, a little bit. And it's like a famous, famous, famous people who used to only be able to make one movie at a time could now potentially be creating an almost unlimited number of movies at one time. Which, what does that mean for the rest of us who haven't been able to get our face out there yet? That we nobody really wants to pay for my AI image yet. Um, but if you were a famous, celebrity and you wanted to do this, I don't think very many people do. But if you wanted to, you could be paid for six different films at the same time,
Hmm.
by just using AI, which um, is scary. And I don't think we have to say I never want AI to have my likeness ever. I think we have to say it needs to be 100% approved by whoever's AI it is. Like, I want to know exactly what the script is, exactly what the image is going to be doing. I want to be able to approve it before anyone can like put it out in the world. Yeah,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Totally.
And I
Yeah.
think there's stuff that's being put out already. Um, I saw this like AI version of like Jennifer Aniston like dancing around on something. And I was like, she definitely, I mean, I don't know, but I can't imagine that she signed off on that, you know? And there's things that just like pop up everywhere. Um, yeah, yeah, it's a free for all right now, and it's scary. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think there
Yeah.
needs to be a lot of regulation around it.
I
And
wish
also
it's
for background work. Like
totally.
there's folks that are, we're going to lose the background work jobs, which to an extent sort of makes sense. But if you're using someone's AI likeness in your film as the background, you need to pay them. You need to let them know they're going to be in this film, and like we need to be on board and we need to be paid, and there has to be the same amount of approval. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what the rules are right now, but that's what I want. I want everyone to have, you know, consent. I feel like consent is really important.
There you go. Yeah, it's true. I
Yeah.
mean, I wish that people could started treating AI as something that could work with us and not for us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Which I do think that
Yes, with you instead of for you. Yeah, it's
which
a
I
good
do
way of
think
putting it.
that is one of the problems now that people are starting to use it to work for them. And due to that, you ended up letting people out of jobs. You know, we see it now with some companies when you call customer service, and
Yeah.
they have already an AI going, which I do think that that was one of the reasons why perhaps we should have when the strike happened, perhaps we should have taken like more attention to it because hey, right now it's happening with the acting industry, but it's gonna happen to everywhere basically.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
it's happening in every industry.
when
And oh,
companies.
that like AI version of customer service is so bad. It's oh my gosh, when I'm trying to like fix something on my computer or like talk to someone on Verizon or like whatever it is, oh man, it can take forever to find a real human to talk to.
Mm,
And even if you do, it's just, oh, that's so hard. I really am bummed about the loss of human to human connection and the value of knowing your business. Like, I was having this issue with UPS. Was it UPS? Yeah. I was trying to track a package and I couldn't get to a real person. And it was so hard. But it's such a simple question. It was such a simple question. And if someone valued this customer, me as the customer, it would have been so easy to answer. But they didn't want to pay for someone to sit there and answer questions from people like me. So it took me forever, and I don't even think I got it resolved. I think the package got returned to the sender, as if I remember correctly. Um, so yeah, yeah. So that yeah, I really miss the human to human connection on in terms of things like that. Uh,
yeah. I mean, there's some companies that they still having human, regular human people who can answer your customer service, which is great. But I wish that they could apply that basically to everyone because, as you mentioned, I mean, it gets irritating that you want to either know a simple answer for a question, or you want to, I don't know, have someone to repair your internet service or whatever, and now it take ages for you to, I don't know, like a regular 15, 20 minutes phone call, it now extends to a 2 hours, 3 hours conversation
Oh
because
yeah, takes half
the
your day.
because the AI
Yeah,
who is like working on that, of course, that is not set properly or is not working properly. So no matter how many times you repeat them, the same thing over and over, they will keep telling you other stuff, or they will just say like, yeah, we know about that. Your area has a problem. We will repair that.
yeah,
And
eventually.
yeah,
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
yeah,
So that is like a very frustrating thing that I
yeah,
wish that more people could have like more attention to it. That
yeah,
yeah, that it's gonna basically take everything for. And we see it now, for example,
eventually.
with things like ChatGPT. For example, the other day I was talking about this in an interview that I have, that I was just playing around and I was like, okay, let's see, let's see what you got. So I type on ChatGPT, create a script for a horror film in which the main villain it's a duck.
Okay.
Couple of seconds later, I have a script going on already. So I was like, okay. And I started to reading it and I was like, okay, this is bad. But then it got to my attention, like it wouldn't be great if people could work with that to be like, you know what, I have an idea on something. Then yeah, you can work on AI so you can get like so you can keep creating what you're having on your mind.
They kind of push the juices a little
Exactly. And,
bit.
and once you have it, then yeah, create it on your own. But I do think that sometimes because this thing can answer everything for us, we started to be like even more lazy because as back
Yeah.
then that you were searching hours and hours to get an answer for something, you can get it with a simple second basically. And it's horrible the fact that we are, instead of being like, you know what, it's cool, but we should be using it for other stuff, instead of doing everything for us, which I do think that if that continues to happen at some point, you know what, it's gonna be
Yeah, you'll
basically.
just be churning out whatever is popular and whatever and bland. It's bland. I also working on these little narratives with the frog. I put in a couple of uh prompts to to Claude, I think is what it's called, an AI, and um and it did spit something back that was made sense, but it wasn't interesting. But it was something that I was able to read and I was like, okay, I see where this is coming from. And then it sort of got me thinking a little bit more. And eventually I came up with my own thing that was pretty different than what it had came up with. But it was interesting to see. It was interesting to see what it did. The other thing is like with AI and all this technology, someone posted, or I think it's been floating around, the idea that we want we want technology to be doing, like, wouldn't it be better if it was like doing the dishes and the laundry for me instead of doing all of my creative work? Like
Mhm.
it's, but I mean, I know that's another person's job for some people, but like I don't have anyone coming into my house helping me out with dishes and laundry and fixing things. I have to do it myself. So I could use more help with that. And the tasks that are taking time during the day that are making it hard for me to get to the creative work that I do. But it's just like, I don't know. It's crazy. AI is crazy. And yeah, but you're right. I think we need to find ways of working with it.
Yeah, I mean,
Working,
yeah, like with us. I mean, as you mentioned, I think that could be. I don't see like the harm to it, because you're using it for your. I mean, you're not taking anybody else's job because it's something that usually will take your time to do, like the usual chores. So it makes sense that if you could have like an AI to help on that, because then as you mentioned, it
yeah,
can help you. It saves you a lot of time for you to work on your other stuff. That you're like that you could put like more attention to it. So I think if we manage, so when that happens, it's basically kind of working with you. You know what I mean? So I think
right.
it's up. So I do think that there is this line that we should be focusing more and be like, oh, God damn it, and be like more
Some
like
flies in
we
there.
we could be we could find this problem by just making sure that it's actually doing everything with us at the same time. For example, let's say, would it be great that they start to use AI a lot more in the hospitals, for example? You know what I mean? That they have this,
Mm,
so that so for let's say that they have AI attending to, broken bones, things like that, and then have the usual nurses and doctors to focus more on other stuff. So then, yeah, you actually are are working with AI. Or, for example, if a doctor needs a specific answer for a symptom, then you have an AI to, who can work on that. So I think there's this line that,
Consult
yeah, exactly,
without
to consult.
doing it for you. Yeah.
Exactly. So I
Yeah.
do think that we should be paying like more attention to that and to be really aware, like, okay, so we're gonna have this, so we're gonna have AI. I mean, AI, it's now here, great, but has to work with us. Otherwise, we're gonna be lazy, and we're gonna
Right.
a lot of people are gonna lose jobs eventually, and we're not gonna solve a problem. I mean, we're gonna create even more problems. So
Exactly. And that's what's really happening is we're creating a bigger divide between people that can afford to just use AI, churn everything out and still make money. And then all of the like lower level creatives are losing our jobs,
totally.
their
But
jobs.
I
Yeah.
do have hope that at least on the whole entertainment industry, even though they want to push AI too much, at some point people are going to say enough. Because even though that you can have an AI to create the most incredible script for a film or TV show, play, whatever, once you find out that it's created by by an AI, you know what? Perhaps some people are not gonna care, but still, I mean, you want to. There's something about it that you want to, and that is what, like, one of the cool things about like the whole entertainment. You wanna have some
Mm.
kind of you wanna feel related
You
to it
want a
somehow.
human connection.
You know what I mean?
And
And it
that's whenever we're fundraising for productions that we've been working on, that's what they say to do. Like, tell your story. Why did you want to create this movie, this film? Why did you want to be a part of this production? What was drawing you to this character that is so great and so human? Because humans relate to other humans. So if I want to make money for my uh, project that I'm working on, I'm not going to talk about the project that much. I'll talk about a little bit, but also I'll talk about me a lot. And I'll talk about why my, director is so excited about it because they're like really interested and drawn to the script, or why the writer wrote it. What were you thinking while you were writing this thing? And and that's what sells. That's what draws in money as opposed to yeah, as opposed to the actual product.
totally. I mean, we want to have this connection. I mean, let's say that even like for music as well. I mean, we want to have this connection with the artist,
Hmm.
because their song
Definitely
they
for music.
exactly like their song they created somehow relates to you on something that happened to you, or something about it kind of connects with you. And if you know that it's
Yeah.
done by an AI, you know what I mean? Like easily you're
Yeah.
going to like lose that touch. You're gonna be like, okay, yeah,
Right.
the song is great, but how can I relate to? How can I have this connection with a program? You know what I mean? Doesn't feel the same
There's
way.
an initial draw to the novelty of it, I think. But I think once the novelty wears off, then we'll be less drawn to it.
Totally. Or perhaps
Yeah.
or perhaps all of this is planned for new generations, you know, that
Yeah.
perhaps they are not kind of aware about this whole thing, which that is when we should be stepping up and be like, you know what, no, focus on this, the whole connection to it. Because at the same time, I mean, let's face it, I mean, unfortunately, over the past few years, we have lost connection between each other. You know what I mean? Like between us
Hmm.
humans, somehow we are like more divided than ever. And it's horrible because having like the chance to actually be more united would be the solution to basically all the problems. But because we have this division that sometimes, like once you hear their points of views, sometimes they're actually fighting for the same thing, but it's just two opposites of, you know what I mean? Um,
Hmm.
so that is one of the things that I would that I'm actually doing every now and then. Like for example, with my little cousins, that they're so into it, so into AI, but I'm like, yeah, it's cool, but you know what? You don't. I mean, you want AI, sure, but you want the connection to it. You want the human side. You want the whole. You want to have this thing going on, which AI at the end of the day, like no matter how advanced and amazing would be at some point, still it's not gonna be the same way to replicate a connection as a regular person with another person.
Right. And if they never get that human to human connection, then they won't know what they're missing.
Totally.
So it's important to foster that connection with children now so that they know what it is and so they know that there's what it is that yeah, so they know that it's wanted. You don't know you want something if you've never had it before or don't know what it is.
Totally, which is scary.
Yeah.
So that's the thing
Yeah.
here that I'm like, oof, because it's happening now. We see it now that that children will be more interested in to be like the other day. I was also checking there's that people are actually like some people are actually like more interested in having like real kind of connections with an AI, and I'm like, no,
Mm,
you know what I mean? Like, don't do that.
yeah.
Go out there, have the like have the actual chance to I mean, maybe I say this because I went to that, like to that era, so it is for me to say it as someone who hasn't like explored that. But I think that is when we should be stepping up and be showing them how, how to actually communicate, how to handle like all of that, the whole feeling when you found something that you were looking for, like that
Yeah.
feeling of accomplishment, like, yes, I got it now. We should be paying like that attention to that, because at the end of the day is what makes us human, and if we want to keep being regular human beings, those type of things we need to have them as well. So
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
yeah, I'm loving this. I mean,
Do you
we're
oh
speaking,
yeah.
yeah. What were you gonna ask?
Well, I guess I was gonna ask if I guess you said cousins that you know for being you work with younger people that way. You don't have kids or
No, 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 no,
no.
no, just
No, no, no.
no, just
That's
dogs, just dogs, and that's it.
yeah, it's just dogs.
No,
Yeah.
because that is, what? Now you mentioned another important thing here, like having children. Yesterday, I was speaking about that with my boss at my work, and we were talking about like this, like this topic, and then I told her that yes, I would love to, sure, at some point have kids would be fun, but then I'm like, do I really want to have kids in this moment right now? I mean, look, when
In this global moment.
in this global moment
Yeah.
when it's basically a bunch of nonsense every now and then. Do I really want that? So it's a delicate thing here, because am I prepared to it, to actually be showing them how, you know what I mean? So at the end I was like,
Yeah, it's a huge responsibility.
totally. So I was like, you know what? I don't know. When the time comes, sure, I will think about it, but right now I would say no, for sure.
Yeah, well, and the time coming is like it's never gonna come if I mean, I can't afford
That's another thing.
or yeah, I cannot afford financially or time-wise to really have children on my own. And that's a bit of a personal life choice. I mean, I've gone into this um, world of being an artist, and it's hard, and it's not lucrative, and it's very physical. So that takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of energy, which doesn't leave a lot of time for and of course and I'm working a survival job, which is really you know, that takes a
Yeah,
lot of time and energy as well. Um, and yeah, so yeah, kids are not on the table, and they're not on the table for a lot of people because of just not being able, not having the capacity to really raise
totally. and and
children.
and also like the fact, like, let's say you have children, and you want and they and you know what, they want to pursue acting or music, and the other day I was watching this documentary, Quiet on Set. Ugh, and I
Oh
was just,
yeah,
you know what I mean, like I was like, this is like, do I really, so that's the thing here, that the more I think about it, I'm like, do I really want to have a kid when in a world that it's super divided now, super divided, and
yeah.
he's
I
gonna and
haven't watched that yet, but I heard a little bit about it.
and he or she's gonna ask a lot of questions in which I don't have answers to it, and I don't wanna, you know what I mean? So maybe I should wait. I mean, maybe some people want to have kids, and as you mentioned, I mean, that's their thing, and that's their, if they want, sure, that's fine. But at least to me,
Right.
yeah, I don't know.
It's hard. I am a nanny by day, so I am in the business of raising children at the moment,
Yeah.
but mostly 1, 2, 3 year olds or who I work with right now for the most part. And they do ask a lot of questions. But, they're one-year old questions, 2-year old questions, which are different than like philosophical questions of a teenager,
Yeah.
which I also don't mind. I have worked with teenagers before. Um, yeah, I do like working with, learning from, being with youth. I think it's really important. And I think it's really important for everyone to be mixing generations, to be mixing with your grandparents and your parents. And yeah, and I don't think we do that as much as we used to, um, just because of the way we all live individual lives as opposed to living with your parents or living with your in-laws. Um, we just don't do that very much anymore.
It's interesting,
Yeah,
right? Like how all of that have
yeah,
changed, you know? And
yeah,
now and now you see some type of parents that instead of raising their children, that you will just give them an iPad and just hang out there and things like that. And I'm like, no, because now with the internet,
yeah.
like you need to actually be putting a lot of attention to it because with having all the knowledge in the palm of your hand with a phone, iPad, whatever, I mean, to be on the hands of on a kid, that's that's terrible because they're gonna create these ideals on something that they shouldn't be paying attention to. Because let's face it, when you're a kid, you should be paying attention to play. You know what I mean? Play with your toys, play with friends,
Oh, yeah.
have fun, enjoy, laugh,
Go
do all,
outside,
you know what
get
I mean?
dirty.
Do all that type of stuff. And then when you start to get older, then you start to understand like a little bit of how the whole world it is about. And
Yeah.
have your proper have your proper time to enjoy stuff. Because one of the things that happens sometimes, I think, to all of us every now and then, it's we get to say things like, I wish I was a kid so then I could have spent more time paying attention more into my toys. Or when I was a teenager, I could have spent more time into something else. You know what I mean? So I do think that
Yeah.
right now we see this time that they don't even think about that anymore, because they basically are creating this base of ideas and everything of what they saw on internet, of what they saw on a YouTuber. Which that is another thing, that having
Mm,
having the chance for you as a YouTuber to create content, it's your responsibility to make sure that what you are that you need to be that you need to put extra care on what you're saying and what you're doing, because you never know. And you know what I mean, that could be
you
a
never know who's
problem.
watching.
Yeah, yeah, that could be
Yeah.
like a problem later on in future for a kid to get inspired. And we see it now that we will have tons of influencers that they will deliver the worst type of messages to their audience because they're kids. And now you see kids trying to act as that influencer. I'm like, no, you should be you, not that guy or whoever you're watching. So it's a
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, and at the same time, it's given the way that we live now, with we don't live with our grandparents, we don't live with our parents, we don't live with our siblings. And when you have kids, it's just like you and your kids. So it takes a village, but we've lost our villages, if that makes sense. Like, yeah. And so our village has turned into a screen sometimes. And I can't blame parents for that because it's hard. It's really, really hard. And yeah, and we don't get a lot of support. We don't get a lot of support from society, basically, and the government, I guess.
Yeah.
Although California is trying to do better, I think, um, in terms of like starting public school earlier, providing more early childhood care. I don't know a lot about it though.
Yeah. So in other
Anyway,
words,
that was quite a tangent.
totally. So in other words, if you're gonna be a parent, be aware of what you're facing up, be a good parent, make sure that your kids are not focused 100% on AI or technology. Have fun every now and then. And yeah, we can close this chapter with that.
I think my advice for parents is to just show up with love, even when you have
Yeah.
to discipline and whatever. Just show up with love, and that's the best you can do. And it's hard, and you're gonna make mistakes, and that's okay.
Yeah, and if you need to spank them every now and then, do it.
No, I'm not on board with physical punishment.
Go for it. I'm just kidding. I just don't do it. But it's but yeah, I just don't do it. Forget what I
I
said.
mean,
Don't spank them.
different cultures, whatever is
Yeah, because
whatever.
in my
But
culture, let me tell you that in my culture, oof, if you did something that it was wrong, oof, you will see, and then you will see your mom like
well, and
giving you
that's
the
how
face.
people have been raised for a long, long time, generations and generations, thousands, thousands of years. Yeah, it's not an uncommon thing, but
It's changing.
we're more knowledgeable now, and I think we can do better. I think you should keep your kids safe. And if that requires something physical, like pulling them out of the way of something or whatever, of course. Um, yeah, yeah. But again, it's tricky, and parents got to decide for themselves.
And don't spank them.
Yeah.
No violence,
I'm
please.
not a huge fan of corporal
Yeah,
punishment, but
just
right. Yeah.
don't do it. Right. Now moving on here. And
Moving on.
yeah, totally
Back to
moving on
acting.
here. Back to acting. Tell me, like, what impact do you think social media has had on actors in their careers?
Okay, so that's another interesting thing because sometimes you'll find casting sites listing, a role, and they'll say you need to have whatever 10,000 followers or more to get, like, don't even submit if you don't have 10,000 followers um, on your platforms, or if you don't have any sort of following. So, and I think that people do sometimes, like especially new writers, new directors, new productions, reach out to uh, people on social media that already have a good following, and they'll just reach out to them over doing a traditional casting. Uh, it's hard, but at the same time, I really appreciate that I have a platform where I can present myself as me. And when casting does decide to go look at my Instagram page or my YouTube site for to a certain extent, um, they will see me as I present me, and I can put up what I want up there, and I think that is helpful. Um, yeah, so it's a mixed bag, like AI.
Totally.
It's a mixed
Yeah,
bag.
but it's great the fact that now with Instagram or YouTube, you can put your work there, and it's a lot easier, as you mentioned, for casting directors or someone who wants to discover you basically, to be like, what, this is what I do. Sides of, like you will see insights every now and then with the things that that I have done every now and then. So it's cool, and I think also it gives the opportunity for more people to kind of ask them, you know what I mean, as back then, which was really complicated to have the chance to ask something to an actor, musician, writer, director, whatever.
Oh, right. You
You know what
can
I mean?
just,
You
right.
can
You can
just
DM
DM
and just like
them
ask it.
and just wait. And if they manage, and if you get the opportunity to have an answer to it, that's great. So I do think that is like a cool thing to it that opens the door more.
Yeah. And I've definitely received some work through Instagram.
There you go.
And I think part of how I wound up with this Ratwoman role for the Dark Crusader is because Vincent and I follow each other. He follows me, and he noticed that I was doing this commercial acting class last summer, and I had some, funny stuff up, and he liked it, and he could see my look. He could see that I was still in the business and putting a lot of work into it. And he was like, "Hey, do you wanna take a look at this script that I have?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So it is helpful. It is helpful to be able to present myself as
Totally,
as I want to present myself.
totally.
Yeah.
To me,
And then it's
it's
just
sorry,
like
sorry,
a
sorry.
game of figuring out how to get followers. Yeah, yeah, no, that's it, I
Y-
think. It's just a, should I repeat it? I'll just
No,
say
no,
it
no,
again.
no. Like having the chance, yeah, yeah. Like having the chance to connect with more people and having the chance to get discovered more. That's the whole beauty of this whole
Yeah.
thing.
Well, and I think not only discovering, I think it's kind of hard to get discovered on social media. I mean, maybe I know a lot of people. I know it happens for a lot of people, but I think it isn't like what usually happens. But what it is helpful for is if I meet someone at a party or if I meet someone on a set at one place and we become connected on Instagram, which is the platform I use, then they will see updates and they'll just be reminded of who I am whenever they check in on their platforms and vice versa. I'll see what they're working on. So it's a way of like keeping up with what is going on in your circles without having to like be constantly reaching out to people, I think.
Mm.
Um, yeah, yeah,
Mm. Yeah.
that makes
You
sense.
know, to me, it has helped a lot. I mean, I started this whole platform with Instagram basically, and having the chance to,
Right. And didn't we connect first on Instagram?
yeah, with the same thing because I
Yeah.
was, I was, I mean, I still do, of course, sending messages to actors. That's like my main tool here, and it's great because, as I said here, it gives like the opportunity to kind of connect, and to actually having the chance to meet new people, learn about their story, things like that. So it's great. So. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
it has his not, it has his other side of stuff, but which we're not gonna talk about. But like but on the good side here, I think it's great having the chance to be more, to have the chance to basically connect with the actors, musician, as back then it was super difficult, and you had this idea that having the chance to speak with an actor was kind of an impossible thing, as now you just
Mm.
open your Instagram and you get the chance to send messages to actors and to ask them questions if you want to start acting, music, or you know. So
Yeah, you can kind of do a search and find what you're looking for, hopefully.
totally,
Yeah. And you're right. I think that we are seeing it from one small lens. Like we're looking at Instagram through the lens of the TV film industry, music industry, um, and how we use it to network. And of course, that's also a very small niche of what Instagram is being used for, because
totally,
there's other, there's all the people that use it for their baking shows or um, their viral dances or whatever. And I don't see as much of that, except for if I'm specifically like, oh, I want to learn about this thing or that thing, and then I'll like intentionally
totally.
follow the things that I want. But yeah, and then it can be a rabbit hole, and you can start like sometimes I notice I'm like following way too many people that are just sort of like fine, but not something that I really need in my life every day. And I'll kind of go through and be like, okay, I need to maybe just clear things out a little bit and make my brain a little less frazzled whenever I look at my feed. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Do you ever think about that somehow we are, with this whole social media, that it's like we're in a Black Mirror episode?
Yeah. Okay, so I think there was there the Black Mirror episode of like liking people and then un and then down liking people and then eventually if you like got too few likes you like went into prison. Yeah, 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 yeah.
That is for another conversation. Let's leave it like that.
It's so
We
scary.
will talk about that
Okay,
in
but the
the
thing
in another
is,
episode.
I think in real life, it's really hard to give someone, like when I'm reviewing something on, like an Airbnb or a Lyft or even like on Amazon when I'm reviewing stuff, it's hard for me to put up something that's not 5 stars. If I don't like it, I have to really not like it in order to be able to like, I want to make sure people know that this is a bad thing. Like it takes a lot for me to actually go out there and put down a negative review. But if I do like something, it's much I'm much more likely to be, oh yeah, it's just five, 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 whatever, 5 stars, and I'll quickly put it up and be like, yes, this thing was good, this thing was fine. It is unnatural, I feel like, for me to put anything less than 5 stars unless something was like really bad.
Sure.
Do you feel
Sure.
like the same way, or is that just like a because I'm like a really concerned, positive person?
No, I'm the same way. At least I really, really, which it has happened that if I buy something and it ended up being like really, 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 really bad, then I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna say something about it.
Just gonna
And
make sure other people know about it. Yeah.
mm, and also with food, if I if I eat something in a restaurant and it really, really was really, really bad and I even got sick to it, then of course I will tell my friends
Right.
like, hey, pay attention to this, because I got sick. So
Yeah.
maybe you don't, which
But
is
that's it. That's the point. Like I have to actually physically get sick before I notify anyone else that like the food at
totally.
this restaurant wasn't my
Hmm.
favorite. Yeah.
Because that's the thing.
Otherwise,
Huh?
yeah, otherwise I just want to give otherwise I only will say anything if I'm like, "Oh, this meal was really good," and I want to like tell people about it. I want to give that 5-star rating and share my experience because it's a positive thing. And I like sharing positive things because, you catch more flies with honey. Is it flies? Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the thing here. I mean, I will only do that if something was really, really bad. If something was meh, I will just be like, meh.
Yeah.
You know what I
You
mean?
just
Like,
leave it. You just
mm-hmm,
like don't even say anything. It's just fine.
totally.
Whatever.
And if something is really
Yeah.
amazing, then of course that I would say like, hey, watch this or see this or buy this or things like that because, it was really good. So,
Yeah. Even on Netflix, if you want to like put the thumbs up or the thumbs down, I almost never put a thumbs down. I just put the thumbs up or the two thumbs up. And don't, if I didn't like something, I just won't do anything. This is funny.
yeah. I used to be the other way around on TV shows and
On
films.
Netflix.
Yeah, I used
Uh,
to like if I didn't like something, I used to be like, yeah, this is wrong. But when I started chat with Dan, it instantly kind of changed my whole mindset of how, on films and TV shows, I was like, oh, I get it
because
now.
you know what
Yeah,
we're doing. I
then I
hate
was
them.
then I was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should stop right now and just, if I didn't like something, I just didn't like something, and that's okay. That's the way it is, and I will move forward to something that I will like and problem solve. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And maybe that's someone else's cup of tea. Doesn't have to be yours. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the thing here, because
Yeah.
I do think that sometimes, right, we will get into this egotistic idea in which we have the true knowledge of everything, and if we don't like or if we like something, everybody should like it or shouldn't like it, and we forget that sometimes it's not the way it is. Maybe something you like, somebody else don't like it, and that's fine. That's good. That's good. You know,
Yeah.
and also if you want to, you can have also have the conversation with someone who hates something that you like, and perhaps you can understand things, see the other way around and be like, oh, I get it now, you know what I mean, which I do think that is
Yeah.
one
See
thing
things a
that
little differently.
which we have missed a lot, to have conversations to it, have an actual conversation with
Oh,
someone
yeah.
who has a different idea on yours. I do think
Hmm.
I like having those conversations because one, you can discover that perhaps the thing you are saying is actually the same thing the other guy is saying, but in a different way. You know what I mean? And sometimes you can discover things like, what, yeah, your point of view is interesting. I like it, or maybe I don't like it, and that's just the way it is, and that's fine.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, we are so averse to, um, in some ways we like really like the conflict. Like we like the extremes when we like making things opposites and just hate. We like the emotion of hate is very strong and it gets likes
Mm,
basically. But at the same time, we're so quick to, stop following uh, or hate something when we don't like fully communicate with you're saying we just need I just appreciate in having conversations that maybe not everyone feels exactly the same way and listening and understanding and doing that like openly and not from a place of I'm right, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right, but from a place of like here's what I'm thinking, what are you thinking,
mm-hmm.
and really hearing what the other person is thinking before we decide. if they're good, bad, or not.
Totally.
Yeah.
There's this fly.
Conversations.
Yeah.
There's that
Um,
fly.
I hate this fly. Yeah. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Dang it. Oh yeah, yeah. Because I mean, everyone, of course, is entitled to have their opinion. That's totally fine. But I do think that not. I mean, not because you're entitled to you're just to express your opinion, that gives you the right to be disrespectful about it. Which sometimes I do think. Which I
Right.
do think that that's a problem. That because yes, I mean, I'm totally free to say whatever I want. Sure, but say it in a respectful way. Because if you're saying it to harm others, you know what I mean? Then you're not actually expressing your opinion. You're actually saying something to cause harm. Like your intentions are then on the other side around, which
Yeah.
some people sometimes hide on those lines. They'd be like, no, I mean, I'm just expressing my opinion, but I'm like, yeah, but do it in a respectful way. Like, you know what? As you were saying, I do think this, and that. This is my belief. What do you think? And then somebody could say, yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? I agree with you, or someone will say, I don't agree with you because this, and that, and then okay, I get it, and that's when you have a conversation. And I do think that we miss that, and we should be having that because that is another reasons why we are more divided than ever because
Yeah.
we don't dare to
We
actually have,
get
you know what I mean?
so attached and involved with our own little bubble, and that it's hard to comprehend and communicate with the other bubbles,
Totally.
more or less.
So
Yeah.
I do hope that eventually we can get this type of conversations, and because I do love to have them, and I started to become better at it. That if someone has a different opinion than mine, and the way they're expressing it, it's offensive, or they're actually trying to get, or or they're actually trying to make me look as stupid, because of what they believe, then that's the point in which you say, you know what, I'm out.
Yeah.
That's it, and move
Well, and
forward.
that's my initial reaction, really. And I'm not that great at I'm terrible at debating, but what I wind up doing is just shutting down and not communicating, which is not great either. I'm
Yeah,
good at listening, but I'm not as good at, at debating and conversing and sharing
yeah.
ideas in that way.
I
Yeah.
u- I
And
used
it's
to
hard.
I used to if like I used to be like the other way around. Like I used to raise my voice and things like that. But when you actually think about, and when you actually see that it could actually harm your health to it, and you can
Yeah.
actually have a future problems in your health due to being angry, and to be like that, like explosive all the time, then you start to say, you know what, yeah, I should be better cool off, and to actually pay attention. I mean, of course, that I can't be all happy all the time. It's okay for me to get angry, but fine, you know what? There's moments in which you can get angry, not because someone called you an asshole. You're not gonna, you know what I mean? So
Well, and what's the stronger choice too? Like if you're feeling really adamant about something, yelling and screaming about it,
it's not gonna help.
it doesn't usually look that good. It's not that great a look. But keeping your cool and just being cool and confident, that's pretty strong. That can be
Yeah,
pretty strong.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing here, that we should be paying more attention to that, and to. I mean, of course, it's easier said than done. Of course, but at least you know what, you can every now and then give it a try to be like, you know what, I'm just gonna pay attention on what I actually should be paying attention, and on nonsense that happen around, because life happens. It's the way it is. And problem solved. Like for example, let me tell you this quick story. The other day, I was just walking, and then I was about to cross the street, right? And it was the red light going on.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay. So it was red light, and then it was green light for people to cross, right? But there was this guy who actually didn't care, and was actually trying to move forward, right? And then he almost hit me, and then he was just angry about it. He started to scream at me like, "Hey, you asshole!" Things like that. And I just look at him and say, "You know what? Whatever, man," and just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Hey,
And that
come back,"
happens a lot.
you
Are you
know?
in LA?
No, in Mexico.
Oh, you're in Mexico. Well, that happens a lot here too.
And then it was funny because I was hearing the guy saying like, "Hey, come back here. I'm talking to you. This isn't over." And I was like, "Psh, whatever." And I would just keep moving forward because I was like, because that's the thing here. You started, or at least what I do sometimes is like, okay, if I engage with this, it's gonna totally ruin my day. You
Yeah.
know, for something,
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It will really eat at you.
For something
But if
so
you just let it go,
yeah, and
yeah.
actually pay attention on something that actually requires, that is actually important to me, then sure. But things like that happen all the time every now and then. So why you should engage in a situation that it's gonna ruin your day for sure. You may not know what, it's gonna, you know what I mean? Like at least the thing that I want to do and what I tell my friends also and family is I just want to avoid problems as much as I can. And if I have problems, make sure that they're actually problems that I can solve and and not put my attention on things that I can solve. For example, that guy. I
Oh,
mean, I
yeah.
I can't
You
teach him
can't
how to
solve that.
drive, you know what I mean? So
Well, and you can't solve whatever the underlying problem is in his life that's causing him to drive like that.
that's the thing here. So,
It's
you
not
know,
you. It's not at all you. It's something entirely different that's going on in his life. And when things like that happen to me in my life, I initially I'm like stressed. I'm like, did I do something actually wrong? And then I reassess, and if I haven't, then I just feel like, oh, there's something going on with that guy, and I'm that's too bad. Like
yeah.
I feel sad a little bit.
Yeah, maybe that guy is really passing through a really bad time and he's just desperate about a situation. And yeah, I mean
Yeah.
he's totally entitled to be angry or whatever reason he has, but he's not entitled to make my day worse, you
Oh,
know?
right.
You know what I
No,
mean?
I mean
So
that's not
that
fair.
so
But
that's the thing
yeah.
here. I mean if and I said that all the time that if someone things happen and that's life sometimes. So if something like that happens and you're like, nah, whatever, and then move forward. So there you go.
Yeah. And then
Yep.
also just remember to notice the positive things and the supportive people that are around. There was this moment I was in the grocery store parking lot and I had pulled my car over. I don't know if you have these, but in our grocery stores, there's like a little area for some of them where you can put your recycling and your like plastic bags to go
Yeah.
to the plastic bag
Hmm.
recycling and the
Yeah, we do have one.
compost.
Hmm.
And I was just pulling over to put my compost in the compost bin. And I wasn't going to stay there. I was just going to go throw my compost in the compost bin and then come back to the car. But this driver going the other way was like, you're like in the way. That's not a parking spot. Like, she got real pissed about it. And initially I was like, wait, am I doing something wrong? I've done this like 1,000 times. Is this like, am I doing something wrong? And I decided, no, it's okay. And eventually she like went around. And this other guy who was standing on the sidewalk and noticed what was going on, he was like, yeah, no, you're fine. That woman was just having a bad day. And that was really nice. Like, it really helped me get through that moment that that one person who was standing there actually said something, was like, no, you're fine. It's okay. You're doing what you're supposed to do. Put your compost in the compost bin and then just go ahead on with your day.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that was really helpful. So noticing those as well is important.
Yeah. Yeah. So basic. So in
Yeah.
other words, just don't be a dick.
Yeah, don't be a dick. And if you notice someone else being a dick, you know, support the person that's not being a dick.
Yeah.
Remind them you're
Yeah.
you're good. You're okay.
Yeah, or if you're having one of those days in which you are angry about whatever reason you have, make sure you are not make sure you are not expressing or trying to release that anger into someone who has doesn't to do nothing. You know what I mean? Who has done nothing to you, which
Yeah,
is the thing that that is
right. They're
problem that
just going
sometimes
through their
happen.
day. It
Just
does.
work on you, and if you have a problem that makes you angry, work on it, and
Do
that's
your
it.
slow breathing. Take a deep breath.
Yeah, or take a nap. It helps.
Or take a nap if you can. Sometimes that's a problem where we just don't have time to sleep.
Yeah, true. You know, when I
Yeah.
when I actually do get angry a lot, when that happens, I get sleepy.
Yep. It's tiring. It's really
It's
draining.
super
Very
exhausting.
tiring.
Yeah, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna
Yeah.
take a nap, and then you take a nap, you wake up, and you're like, okay, what was it? Sometimes you even wake up and be like, "Hmm," and then keep moving
What
forward.
was I so angry about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you
Like,
go.
okay.
So we can close this chapter as
Perspective
well
changes overnight.
by
Okay, we
saying
can.
just don't be a dick.
Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh,
Simple.
I think I just snorted a little bit.
Simple. Life lessons here. Just to be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Be
There we go.
happy. And if you're at the supermarket, please don't get frustrated or be irritated about sales or things like
Be
that. Like
kind.
exactly, be
Be
kind because
kind.
it's crazy. Like sometimes I say that when you go to the supermarket, it's like going to the jungle.
Oh my
You
gosh.
you
You're
know,
right.
you will see people who get instantly crazy about something, and a couple of days ago I went to the supermarket and then there was actually a sale on what was it? On chocolate cake. So I was like, "Hey, I want a chocolate cake." And there were like a few left. So there was a line to it, you know? And then it was my turn to grab a chocolate cake and then I just grab it. And then this lady behind me went ballistic on me, went super crazy,
Oh,
started to say like a lot of things to me. And I was like, "You know what,
she
lady?
really wanted that chocolate cake.
Yeah, you know what? You really want it? Here, have it. I don't need
Oh,
it.
that's nice. Yeah.
It's good for me and it's actually good for my health. So thank you for noticing that to getting that to my attention. I don't actually need it. Have it, enjoy it, have a good one." And then I left. Solve,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. When you can do things like that, that's the best.
Yeah, because I mean, let's face
Yeah.
it, you can buy a chocolate cake everywhere else, which I
Yeah.
actually
Look at
did.
another one.
So, but that's another
Oh
story.
no. Didn't really save your health that
You know,
much, but
after that, I was like, there's actually a store a couple of blocks away. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go there. So I went, buy my chocolate cake. It
I
wasn't on
deserve a
sale.
little cake now.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
just
Maybe it tasted better though.
instead of escalate, de-escalate.
De-escalate. I love that. De-escalate.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And tell me, what are your thoughts
Yeah.
on the globalization of the film industry and the opportunities it provides for actors?
Okay. Um, I think there have been a lot of really awesome international things coming out. I like watching things from all over the world. I like watching a good um, show from Australia. I'm actually watching a show right now called Acapulco that takes place in Acapulco.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Uh-huh.
Have you seen it?
I have.
It's so funny. I
Yeah.
love it. I yeah, I've been
Yeah.
binging it the past couple of weeks.
Yeah,
There's
it's one
like
of
three
those
seasons
shows
right now.
in which and it's funny because the other day I was saying like, do actually people are watching this? So it's good.
It's so good. I mean, it's
It's
a
hilarious.
perfect
It's
little
hilarious.
like yeah. But it also I mean it's not a sitcom, but it's a comedy, and it has all these little things that just I've been watching it alone because my boyfriend's out of town, and I'm just still sitting here on my couch laughing out loud with yeah, it's very good. It's well done. I think it's a well done comedy. Anyone in the production team of
Yeah,
Acapulco needs a curly haired Italian American, I'm your girl.
you got it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tag them.
Okay, good.
We got this. I
Yeah.
got you. You know,
So in the bag.
it's so amazing the fact now that we have the chance to watch shows and movies from all over the world basically as back then. Do you remember like how complicated it as was back then to watch
Yeah.
shows or films like I mean, I remember back, for example, when I was a kid, like to actually have the chance to go to the movies and watch a film made in Germany or in Japan or any other country. It was really difficult because we would only see either the Mexican ones, of course, and the Hollywood ones. Period. And now and now with this whole globalization going on and having the chance to see, we will see productions in Netflix that are made in Norway or Singapore,
Yes, there's
things
such
like
a
that.
big production company
Yeah.
in Norway for Netflix right now, I think. Norway or Sweden or both, maybe. I'm not sure. But where's Oslo?
Norway.
Yeah, so I think that's where it is. They've got a lot going on there. I think, yeah, and I think that the other thing though that is also happening that I've seen is there are a few shows that they just literally translate the script and then remake them in another country, which I'm not sure how much I love that. I love it from a perspective of like seeing the small variations. Um, and I like listening to different languages and learning what I can. Um, so I like that there was this show in that took place in Denmark, I think. No, maybe Norway actually. That was I think it was called I Hate Christmas. It was this like have you seen it on
No, I
Netflix?
haven't. No, I haven't.
Well, they made it in Norwegian, I think. And then they remade almost exactly the same show in Italian. And I'm studying the Italian language. So it was nice that I already knew the premise. And then I got to watch it in Italian. And I think for the most part, I actually just used Italian with Italian subtitles because I already knew what was going on. So I didn't exactly need the English subtitles. So that was kind of fun. But I also find it a little strange that they're just like, it's not different. That it's just like the same exact thing, and they're just churning it out in different places. So my hope is that we are um, providing space for creativity in different regions to grow. So fostering creativity in different regions, as opposed to like thrusting our own stuff or Netflix thrusting their own stuff onto different
Yeah.
regions. Um, so I love being able to see things from different places. Um, but yeah, I just hope that it is fostering culture and creativity rather than diminishing it.
Hmm.
And I don't really know where the line is and what's going on. But yeah.
Yeah, it gives the opportunity of, as you mentioned, to for showcase, for showcasing your talent, which is great because, at the end of the day, I think if you it gives the opportunity, as I was saying, to people to be like, you know what, I mean, I could be in Japan, but I'm a hell of an actor. I can get, I can do it. And then for their projects to be able to be worldwide and then for people from all over the world to be watching them, that's pretty cool. And I think that is great that we can get this chance now. And I think it's growing. I mean, I do hope they do that also on indie stuff. That would be great. Um,
Hmm.
or in either indie stuff or short films, and they can get the chance like to make it also as worldwide as a regular film or TV shows. That would be great too. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that we're able to see things from all over the world. And also, people from all over the world are able to share things globally. And that we can share our stuff globally as small independent people, not only big Hollywood films.
Yeah, that's the thing here because there actually every now and then you will. I mean, I will be watching every now and then an indie film or a short film from someone that I'm about to interview or someone that I interviewed in the past, and sometimes they're pretty good. And I'm like, hey, like more people should actually be watching this, and I wouldn't mind, for example, if in Netflix or Max or Disney Plus, whatever, if they will tell you, you know what, we're gonna charge you a little bit more, but you're gonna have
Mm.
this, you're gonna have this category of indie films so you can watch. Then I'm like, okay, yeah, it sounds reasonable,
Do
sure.
you know the platform Acorn?
No, I know Tubi.
Acorn is more international.
Mm,
It's like that's where I watch all the Australian films, or not films, the TV shows. Um, yeah, so you could look into that one. But again, it's on a whole other platform, so you could be paying for another thing. But yeah, I agree. I think it's nice, yeah. I always, whenever I order something on Amazon, I always hit the button to like it can come a day later or so, so that I build up credit to be able to watch movies.
mm.
So if it's something on Amazon, but you have to pay a couple dollars to see it, usually I'm okay with that because I've built up a little bit of credit from purchasing things that way.
Yeah,
I don't love buying things from Amazon in general, but you know, sometimes you have to.
sometimes you have to. Yeah, I used to don't use it a lot, and when I started to actually using it more, I was like, this is good. And then I wasn't,
Yeah.
and then
I mean,
when they released their streaming platform, I was like, "Psh, I'm not gonna, I don't need it. You know, I have Netflix, I have HBO, I don't need it." And then they released the Fallout TV show, and I was like, "Oof."
oh,
And then
yeah, Fallout was good.
a lot of amazing critics like you need to watch this, you need to watch this. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna watch this, and I ended up paying for Prime, and I have Prime now.
Mm,
You know,
yeah.
which if you think about it, it's like somehow we are getting back to this era of cable. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
we're
it's kind of
slowly
going full
going
circle
back. Yeah.
where we're going and we have to pay for all the different platforms. Which, as long as the money is going towards the artists, is fine. But we just got to make sure it's getting down to all of production, not just the top tiers. Everywhere. Everybody gets all the money.
What would you say is your top five of favorite TV shows of all time?
Of all time,
Of all time that you can watch, rewatch, and rewatch every now and then.
well, everybody says Friends, and I did watch that 1,000 times probably, and can still rewatch it. And it just it's a comfort show,
Mm.
comfort show. But one of my favorite shows of all time is Parks and Rec, Parks and Recreation with Amy Poehler and I can't remember anyone else's name. Ron Swanson, he's a very famous guy, but I can't remember his name. And Aubrey Plaza is in it. Um, but they were Aubrey Plaza was not very well known at the time, I don't think, but she did it. Um, yeah, it's just very subtle, funny, not subtle. It's like very funny. Um, but it doesn't have a laugh track, and it's kind of like The Office. I think it's from the same producers of The Office.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I like that. And what else do I like? I don't know if I have like a top five of all time. I grew up a lot watching I Love Lucy. I loved that. Um, and more recently, this summer, I watched the miniseries Lessons in Chemistry. I thought that was fun. I really like Brie Larson. Um, yeah, now, like I said, I'm watching Acapulco. I also just finished Shrinking. That was good. With Jason Segel and Harrison Ford.
There you go. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think?
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Do you know many of those? I also watched Fallout. Fallout was good. I don't know if it would be my top five. Oh, I did really like what's the zombie one? The other zombie one that was
The
The
Walking
Last
Dead.
of Us.
Oh, The Last
The
of
Last of
Us on
Us.
HBO. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
really like that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that
It's
was a
also
good one.
video game
Hmm.
inspired. Yeah.
Yeah, and they
And
actually,
it also has
huh?
it has an episode that features, oh my God, I really need to know his name because the guy that played Ron Swanson, and it's just like the most beautiful episode. Episode 3 of season 1 of The Last of Us. Just
Oh, yeah,
you can
yeah,
watch that on your own, on its own,
yeah.
without
No,
watching any of the other episodes, and
yeah,
it's still really good.
I know which episode you mean. Yeah, a lot of my friends were talking about that. Like, wow, you know what I mean? Yeah,
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 yeah. Like, wow,
yeah,
okay, yeah, yeah. It was, yeah, yeah, yeah. That show was pretty good. I agree. You
yeah.
know,
It was
and it's
good.
interesting because I actually played the video game, so it was funny because with my family friends who didn't play the video game at all, and they were so excited about it, you know, and they were watching because I already knew what was. I mean, even though that I knew what was gonna happen, I still loved it. I was like, they actually went on spot and everything,
Yes,
which was great. So,
right. In that film and with Lessons in Chemistry, where Lessons in Chemistry was a book I read over the summer before the TV show came out or the miniseries came out, and Last of Us, of course, was a video game that was a video game before it turned into a TV series. And well, I love that they're their own independent thing. Yeah, and still like part of the original art. So yeah, I don't know. I just love that they're like still like both things can be incredible. Both the book, both the book and the video game and the TV shows are all independently amazing, and they don't have to be exactly the same. but they are like beautiful in their own genre. If that makes
Totally.
sense. In their
Yeah.
own
Yeah,
art.
in their
Yeah.
own. Yeah, 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 yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. So, so yeah, I agree. Yeah, you have a cool
And I
selection.
like that productions can tell the story the way they want to tell the story. Sometimes I feel like some people get upset when like specific details aren't exactly right, but I just like that you don't have to keep exactly the same details and you can have your own artistic license and create the same kind of essence. You keep the essence, but make it work for your for your art, your I guess platform. What is it called?
Yeah.
Your media, your
Mm.
medium. Sorry, your medium. Make it work for your medium, which in this case is a TV show for both Last of Us and Lessons in Chemistry.
Yeah. I'll take it.
Okay,
That's
I feel
pretty
like I
cool.
went a little roundabout there, and I'm not sure that
No, but yeah, I mean,
the words that came out my mouth were the same as the thoughts in my head. But
at the end of
if hopefully the essence was there.
it's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, that show was pretty cool, and I actually managed to interview a couple of people who were actually in that show. In some episodes, they
Oh,
were there, so that was pretty cool. And so yeah,
that's cool. Are they Canadian? Didn't it shoot in Canada?
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
It was they did it in Calgary. I think it was Calgary, in
Hmm.
Canada. Yeah. So it was good because as I was saying, like the fact they are moving like this type of productions to other type of, to other countries, to other parts of of the world. That is good because I mean you're also covered as I was saying in the beginning, you can also give like opportunity to local talent to be there, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, well, and but sometimes they'll pull all the talent from LA and just bring them to wherever, which is kind of fine for me because I'm in LA.
yeah.
But uh
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, and they'll move them to whatever to Canada or Mexico or wherever because it's cheaper, of course, and
totally.
there's aren't as many rules, which is yeah.
There you go.
Um, so it depends. But yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
But yeah, we'll keep watching.
We'll keep watching. There you go. I love it. I'm loving it. So my last question, so we can
One last
enjoy
question.
and relax after an epic conversation with so many tangents and different topics here. I'm loving it. So here it is. What do you think that could be the best title for this episode?
Right. And I was thinking about it at the beginning because I was like, I have no idea at the beginning what the answer to this question would be, but we'll have to figure it out as we go through the episode and see what comes up. Um, so what is going to be the name of this episode? Um, I don't know. Bottom line, be kind, or bottom line, don't be a dick. I feel like that was a good line earlier.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? What are the highlights of this episode? We talked about a few things that I'm going to be in or that I'm in and are coming out in the world. We talked about the future of our children and AI. We talked about what else did we talk about? We talked about um, I don't remember how we got onto the whole grocery store thing and traffic and what was the initial question for that? I don't know. We talked about how social media influences what we're doing. Um,
I do have a title.
yeah. Okay, what is it?
Easy one. No, no. Authentic conversations.
Authentic conversations.
Or or
Authentic tangents.
authentic tangents. Or just be authentic, don't be a dick.
Mm,
You know? Or mm, yeah, I think something like that could be because yeah, we touched so many topics, and in order to get them into one title,
yeah.
oh,
We just
what
have to
about
figure out what was the most.
simple?
Okay, what is it?
Could be acting, groceries, and films.
Yeah. Okay.
Something like that. What do you think?
Groceries and films. Yeah. The jungle of the grocery store. I like that you compared it to the jungle. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it is a jungle, especially on
Or
sales. Ugh.
maybe just groceries and films, or acting in grocery, or TV film industry and groceries.
So TV, film, and groceries.
TV film and groceries. Yeah.
Would you, let's say, if you are on the wormhole of YouTube or Spotify and Apple, you see the title popping in. Would you see it? Be like, I want to see what it's about. Does it sparks interest on you?
Yeah. TV, film, and groceries. Yeah.
Film and groceries. Yeah, because it's like, okay, so what is this about? I'm gonna talk about doing your groceries based on films, which that would be interesting. Let me tell you that. You know, that if you're gonna describe that you are about to describe a film with groceries, that would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and also there's that YouTube channel where the guy reproduces meals from different films, which is also it's fun YouTube.
So yeah, we could leave it as what was TV and film? No, TV, film, and groceries.
Yeah,
TV, film, and groceries. Yeah, let's take it.
I like that. All right,
Sounds like a franchise.
TV, film, and groceries.
There you go.
Let's go have some chocolate cake.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna buy one today. We'll see.
Sounds good.
We'll see what happens. But hey, at the end, what can I say? You know, the fact that you keep pursuing what you do, the fact that you keep making it happen, keep showing up. I mean, that's super badass. And besides
Thank you.
badass, that's super inspirational because I do think, and that is like the whole beauty of. I mean, that is why I love to interview people like you guys because you are showing us, besides giving us epic performances, you're also showing us that everything is possible. And I do think that is another thing that we should also be paying attention to enjoy life. You know, search whatever makes you happy, go for it, enjoy, have a good time, and inspire others on the process, which I do think there's people out there who sees you as an inspiration or sees you as someone who is getting things done, and that is super badass. So
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, it takes a lot of energy, but I can't not do it.
yeah, I mean, we all have those days, right?
It's the passion. Yeah,
we have days
the
that
drive.
we just want to quit. It's inevitable, but hey, you are keep showing up, and that is, as I was saying, that's super cool because we all know that it's a pain in the butt to actually show yourself for something that you want to, but you're basically starting it from scratch. So it's a difficult one, but you are doing it, you are building it step by step, and that is cool. So keep doing what you do.
Thank you.
There you go. I also want to thank those who stayed this whole episode. Let us know what you think in the comments below if you agree or not. And also make sure to go follow Jaedra like right now. You already know why she's super badass, so let's make her viral. Let's keep with this trend, and if not, let's get this started, which is hashtag Team Jaedra. And again, keep rocking out there, keep shining, keep being super badass, and I'll see you in the next one.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan.
All right.